Alright guys, so here we want to start the trouser drafting. Now this trouser will have back elastic and front rope. So this could be used for your regular senator outfits or for your vintage two-piece trouser. So the first thing you will do is to fold the fabric in this form. Make sure that the salvage edge, that's this edge, is on this part, right? And then the yardage needed is 1.5 yards to 2 yards, depending on the customer size. So here I have 2 yards of fabric, and then you mark out your baseline. You must make sure you mark out a perfect baseline, and then you also mark out the side lines. The dotted edges on the fabric is not meant to be included in the drafting of the trouser. So after you have marked out these lines, now the next you do is to mark extra 2 inches. Now these 2 inches will serve you for the folding or hemming of the trouser. You mark 2 inches here. After the 2 inches, the next you do is to connect the lines as shown, and then you now mark the length of the trouser. Bear in mind, the length of the trouser is gotten from the customer's measurement. So which the length we have is a length of 42. Length of 42. So you make sure that this line, the side line must be up to 42 inches. So you mark 42 inches length for your customer's length, 42. You mark 42, mark it twice so that you will get the perfect value or perfect line at the waist region. So here becomes your waistline, while the other side is your hemline. After that, you get your crotch. How do you get your crotch? From the hips over 4. So the hip we have is a hip of 48. By 4 is 12. So you can decide to mark 12 as your crotch or reduce half an inch, your choice, just to give it fitting. So here I'm marking 12 for my customer's crotch depth. So you mark 12 inches right there. And after that, connect the lines as well in this form. After which you now apply the customer's hip circumference of 12, right? Plus extra 2 inches. Then after which you get the knee line. How do you get your knee line? Measure from the crotch depth to the length of the trouser. That's from here to this point. Give me 30. Divide this distance into 2 and come up by 3. So here 30 by 2 is 15. Minus 3 is 12. So here you mark 12 for your knee line. So you can mark the 12 twice so that you'll be sure that what you are getting is 12. You connect all through this way, and then get the center line, or what we call the grain line or gradient line. So the total distance from here to here is 14. Divide by 2, that's 7. You mark 7. Measure again from here to here. Divide by 2, that's 7. You mark 7. You measure again from here to here. Divide by 2, that's 7. You mark 7. Then you can decide to join the line with a straight line, or leave it as a dotted line or a disjointed line. So you can decide to mark the line to join or leave it this way as a disjointed line. After which you mark the knee circumference. So the knee as well is also your customer's fitting choice. You must measure in accordance with the customer's fitting preference. So here the knee I have is a knee of 20. That's 10. Divided by 2. That's 5, right? 20 is the circumference of the knee. Now 10 is for the front panel and 10 is for the back. So that's first 10 you go for the front. Divide by 2 again. That's 5 from the center point here. 5 from the center point as well. That's 10 in total, right? Then after that, get the ankle. So ankle is 16. Ankle divided by 2 is 8. By 2 again is 4. That's 4 from the center here, and also 4 from the center here as well. Now, if you observe, we did not make use of the lap measurement. Now, the reason being that if you divide your hip by 4 plus extra 2 inches, I told us that it must be equal to or a bit greater than the lap over 2. So here we have a hip of 20, hip of 48, that's 12, plus 2 is 14. So this simply means that this person's lap cannot be more than 28 and a half, because here is giving me 28, then plus the back, 29, maximum for 29. So this lap cannot be more than 28, 29 for this client. So if in some cases where your lap seems to be bigger than the hip plus extra 2, you increase your hip circumference. So you connect the line all through this way, and then connect the line as well all through this way. Then what you do next is mark your waist circumference. The waist is 40 divided by 4 is 10. You mark 10 plus extra 1 inch. Now, in as much as we are doing back elastic and front loop, you still need to use the waist circumference in the drafting. So connect the 1 inch on the waist to the real hip. From here, you connect all through to this very point. And with the help of your armhole curve, you place this way, make a curve that goes from the crotch extension to come up this way. So this point it came up with can be called the actual hip point. Then slope your waistline by half of an inch, that's 0.5. Use your hip curve and connect in this form. The curving should not get to the end of the trouser, somewhere at the midpoint of the trouser. Then with the help of your hip curve as well, you connect these lines from here to the knee. Connect this as well to the knee, and then connect this as well to the knee as well, right? So this is how it's being done. Then this one as well, you connect from this point as well, you connect to the crotch depth. So this is for the front panel. Then the last thing you will do here is to mark your pocket depth and pocket width. So here is 7 inches, and then up here is 2.5. You mark them in this form. So this is what we have. Then after this, we are going to now cut, and then I will show you the major difference with the front panel and the back panel. So this is what it looks like. So now I am done drafting the front panel. So what I will do next is to cut the back. Now in cutting the back, all you need to do is to extend the fabric towards your direction, just this way, and then you make sure that all your foldings is going to also enter or accommodate the subsequent placements for the back panel. So here you carefully arrange and then bring the front panel, place in this form. Now this placement is very important that you pay attention to it and understand how the best thing to do here. Now the back panel will be raised by extra 4 inches. You and I know that usually we raise the back by 2 or 2.5 or 1.5 depending on the size of the client in question, right? So but in this case, the back panel will be raised by extra 4 inches. So when you have gotten to this stage, now you extend the crotch line here this way, extend the crotch line, and then you cross check, make sure that the back has extra 4 inches allowance. Now this 4 inches you are raising the back panel is going to serve us for the back band, right? The band at the back panel is what we're adding now. We are not meant to join the band as a separate component. We are meant to cut it together alongside the panel. It's a whole lot easier that way. Now, if you observe, we are talking about back elastic and front rope, but we have not added any allowance that will accommodate the elasticity of the back panel. So here, remember that we use the waist circumference to cut the front panel. So we are also going to consider the elastic nature of the back part by adding extra inch for it at the back. So the extra inch I'm adding here might be 2.5 inches as against 1.5. So I virtually added extra 1 inch to the whole measurement. So here you mark 2.5. Now, if you wish to have more elasticity effects, you can add 3 at the back. So here, add 2.5, while you add your regular 2 inches at the crotch region. Then extend the line to go out in this form, this way. And also note importantly that the 4 inches raising at the back panel will not be slanted as how we do our regular trouser. The 4 inches will go straight. It will be a complete 4 inches raising from the back panel. Then after which you take your hip curve, your armhole curve, or whatever curve you have, a curve in this form, and then you make sure that here is 2 inches, or as well 2.5. Then add 2 inches all through this way. Now this addition you're adding is the regular thing we do on our normal trouser. These ones are normal, right? So there's no much explanations to make at this part. Then connect the lines all through. So this can be 2.5 or can be 2. It's solely your choice. And also note that if you're adding for, if you're measuring for a free trouser, you need to take the measurement alongside when you are taking the measurement, and not necessarily when you want to cut. So you have to use your initiative to know what your customer wants and measure accordingly to avoid issues, right? So just ask him what he wants. Is it going to be a free trouser, fitted trouser, or a loose fit? So cut all through this way. Now the reason I want to leave you to see how the cutting is being done, so that no part or no area will confuse you if you're having issues with the drafting. So I want to adjust it. Okay, let me just cut it off from here. Drafting it, because Jonkoso usually tends to be a rough fabric to handle, especially if you're impatient or new in the field. Even though that are old in the field always have these issues to handle Jonkoso. So just be patient enough while doing this. Now at this point, you are seeing how the whole drafting is being done. So you cut all through this way. So this is what it looks like. So the back panel band has been cut alongside it. So you will just need to fold this 1/2 inch and then fold again. Now when you fix the front band, it will come to this point. The next thing to cut now is the front band. Remember that I told us that the back band has been cut alongside the back panel. So you cut the zip fly, the pocket facing and of course the back band, right? The front band, and the rope of the trouser could be the same fabric you are making, or the regular custom rope they sell in the market, the joggers rope they sell in the market. So, but I prefer using the joggers rope. It tends to add beauty to the outfit. So this is for the zip fly. So in case this is your first time of watching or learning how to make this is called zip fly, for fixing the zip on the trouser, and that is for that. And then you are now going to cut the band of this particular trouser, and the measurement that you are going to cut with will be the half of your waist circumference plus a certain inch. Now that certain inch will be around 3 to 4. You give some allowance for joining and for the rope hole, like where you open for the rope to come out from. So, and the width of the band here we're going to cut is 4.5 inches width. Then the length will be the half of your waist circumference plus extra 4 to 5 inches. This will enable you have enough band that will be ideal, or that will be okay for the front panel. So the next video you'll be seeing will be on the stitching aspect of this, where I will also explain to you or show you where I gummed. In fact, if you know how to gum trouser already, you might not really need much explanation again on how to gum this, but I will show you the gumming so you know where I gummed, and also show you the sewing processes. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Bye bye for now.